Well, YouTube, I have some good news, and I have some bad news. The good news is that the new Pope picked the name Francis, so this picture exists. The bad news is we have a new Pope, so the Catholic Church still exists. I have to give them credit, though. This is the first time in history they've ever picked a Pope that wasn't from one of the European countries. He's from Argentina. So that's a little spice of variety, I guess. That's where the positives end, though. He's 76 years old, but that's hardly the problem. I mean, they've been losing the youth for years, and this isn't going to do anything to help that. But the biggest problem is this quote that's come out, not even 24 hours since he was elected to be the Pope. This is from an interview that he did in Argentina. This just got released. Read this for you.
Women are naturally helpless to exercise political positions. The natural order and the facts show us that man is the being for politics by excellence. The scriptures show us that the woman is always the support of the thoughtful man and doer, but nothing more than that.
Did you get all that? That's the kind of guy that just got elected to be the head of the Catholic Church. This shouldn't come as any surprise to any of you, though. I mean, if you've paid any attention to the Catholic Church, ever, you know that it is one of the most backwards, immoral, logic-free institutions in the world. I mean, okay, they do a lot of charity work. Absolutely. They are probably one of the largest, if not the largest, charitable group in the world. But, first of all, none of that stuff they're doing is stuff that can't be done through secular means. And even if they're donating tons of money worldwide, that doesn't excuse the absolute opulence of the Vatican. But we'll get to that in a minute. How can any Catholic watch the proceedings in the Vatican for the election of the Pope and not realize it's a complete farce? I mean, let's take a look at it and break the logic down, okay?
God knows who he wants to be Pope, but he gave man free will, so he lets the cardinals vote, but their vote isn't the determining factor, it simply reveals God's will, which means the outcome was predetermined, so at least 2/3 of the cardinals didn't have free will, they were being divinely guided. But that means God was suspending free will for the appointment of the Pope anyway, so why not just show up, point and say, that guy right there, or better yet, show up and prove he even exists? No, instead we have a bunch of old men in flamboyantly colored robes and phallic hats who then turn around and have the nerve to judge homosexuals.
How any of that makes any sense to anybody is beyond me. The Catholic Church is a complete relic of the past. It serves no purpose in modern society. It can't be served by secular means. We don't need the myth. We don't need the guilt. And we do not need the manipulation. My sincerest hope for the Catholic Church is that Pope Francis ends up doing a worse job than good old Joey Ratz did last time around. I hope their members continue to fall. And I hope that the Vatican gets dismantled piece by piece and sold back to the countries and peoples that were raped in order to fund such opulence. And I hope every member that has ever been involved in any kind of sexual abuse or any other kind of abuse of their members, especially of children, gets held accountable, gets put behind bars instead of a comfortable retirement. I wonder, if that were to happen, and everything that happens is God's will, would Catholics look at that and say that that's what God intended? That that was part of his plan? Or are they only convinced that it's God's will if there's a 2/3 majority vote?